baby, how was school today?
Mom, these kids at school kept making fun of me and they kept calling my hair nappy. Why, Mom?
Tootie, look, just read this book and it'll tell you everything you need to know.
There's another N-word we throw around in and out of the black community called nappy. We have taken that word like the other N-word, nigger, and made it a word of adornment. I have heard the word nappy my entire life, which was used to insult, degrade, and hurt someone. This word is a derogatory term that was used in our ancestors to insult them.
Available now.
I love myself.
Same tree, different brand.
I hope you love yourself, because love is only love when you love somebody else.
What hair looks like after slavery. Transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade by the European changes everything for Central and West Africans. Let's briefly talk about the transatlantic slave trade. The Portuguese and later the English, the French, and the Dutch got involved in enslaving Africans in large parts of West Africa, the Gulf Coast of Guyana, and the Congo River Basin, were significant areas of human exports to the Americas, mostly to sugar plantations in the Caribbean. By the late 17th century, the so-called triangle trade developed. European ships loaded with guns, textiles, tobacco, and manufacturing goods sailed to Africa's slave ports and traded those goods for captives. European slave traders then took those Africans to the New World, where they were sold. With that money, the European purchased staples such as sugar, tobacco, rum, and coffee, then sold for enormous profits back in Europe. The profits was often reinvested in other goods to be traded for captives back in Africa, and so on. If you want more in-depth information on the transatlantic slave trade, I recommend you read Hugh Thomas' book titled The Slave Trade, the story of the Atlantic slave trade 1440 through 1870. This is a thick book, roughly 912 pages, and worth sacrificing some of your time to read. The book is almost the same price as a supersized combo from a fast food restaurant, destroying the image of African hair. Europeans who had traded and communicated with Africans knew the complexity and the significance of black hair. They were often struck by the various hairstyles that they saw within each community. In an effort to dehumanize and break the African spirit, Europeans shaved the heads of enslaved Africans upon arrival to the Americas. This was not merely a random act, but a symbolic removal of African culture. The shaving of the hair represents the removal of any trace of African identity and further acts to dehumanize.
Lafayette. It's your boy Sean P in the place to be. John Mayan Boca to all my West Africans out there. Hey, I got something to address, and I'm gonna get it off my chest. I shouldn't have to do this, but I am. And the way that I'm gonna do this, I ain't saying nobody's name, no channel, none of that. But I'm gonna bring forth something to y'all so we can close the chapter on the irrelevance of this shit and we can move forward. So in the description of the video, I have a ton of information. Y'all know how I get down, but I wanna start the show off by first addressing something, and then I'm gonna play a little video, and then not all of it, but a clip of a video, and then I'm going to build on that body of knowledge. Excuse me. And everything that I'm going to present to you is going to mount the evidence for the argument. So about a year ago, and I say almost a year ago, because that was the last time I actually had a dialogue with this particular person. And it wasn't even a dialogue. And if y'all give me time, I will, for what it's worth, I don't mind showing you my inbox. Because there's nothing in my inbox that will warrant any type of evidence that could be used against me, so to say. But there was a source in my inbox. Now, originally, the claim was that the whole Native Americans dying from disease and wasn't able to do the labor is a myth. That's a lie. And that they were actually shipped to these the Native Americans in North America. They were actually shipped to these other areas and even to Africa. Okay. That's the claim. Now, I didn't bother to go back and engage this particular person. Actually, I never replied. The comment went looked at, but I never replied to this person. And like I'm saying, it's almost a year. So this person had the audacity to want to bring this up because they had something on their chest and they wanted to get this off. It's unfortunate that they chose to want to do that during an actual live stream that was pretty much dedicated toward interviewing me. Now, let me tell you a little bit about that. I didn't know that the channel belonged to the person that had a really big issue, to be honest. I didn't go and look at the channel at all. I wanted to stay ignorant of it because two of the people that I had been communicating with, who both share the same name, spelled a little differently, they asked me to come on. They wanted to do an interview. I heard there was some controversy around some things that I was talking about. Wanted to talk about my books and the importance of research methodology and how to advance people moving forward and so forth. So I took up the opportunity to be able to do that. However, nothing against those two dudes, but I think the owner of the channel, he really had a lot on his mind. And so he wanted to go back almost a year and bring up that source. And he said, you guys like to say source up or shut up. And, I provided you a source and you never said anything about it. And I'm finna tell you why I didn't say anything about it. So here's the source. Now, mind you, it's published in brown.edu. The topic is under social sciences. It was published in February 15, 2017. You see the media contact information and what be the case. Now, the study was done by Linford D. Fisher. I'm trying to pull the person up, see if it'll do it, it won't. So, whatever. But anyway, this was the source. Now, the gentleman felt, or, intrigued to send me this. And wanted to discuss to the extent of this, saying that the whole myth of Native Americans dying from diseases and having to be replaced by Africans is just that. It's a myth. The Native Americans were able to do the job. They were able to do this. They even were shipped to Africa. Now, on the live stream, I asked the person specifically, right? Where in Africa were the people shipped? The Native Americans that were enslaved and brought across the seas. And I said, are you aware that they did bring Native Americans to Europe? And Africa was one of those pit stops. But he was steadfast in his particular claim that no, they were sent to Africa. I said, well, where are they now? And he said they're still in Africa. And I said, ain't no way that some Native Americans are still in Africa. Now, let's deal with the source. All right. It's called A Colonial Enslavement of Native Americans Included Those Who Surrendered To. A study by Brown University historian finds that Native Americans who surrendered during King Philip's War were sold into slavery with long-standing effects. Now, this study is done by, once again, a historian from Brown University. Okay? Now, this is this person's finds. I want you to pay close attention to what I am saying to you. I am telling you that this is one person's find. If you do not believe me when I provide you this information to you, you can go on Google, you can put in some information here, and you'll see if you'll get other supportive evidence for this article. Now, does it negate the validity of this particular article? No. But it tells you where this source comes from. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you the claimant of this source is the historian from Brown University by Linford D. Fisher, which is an associate professor at the history of Brown University. And listen, it says it right here in the first paragraph. A study by Linford D. Fisher, associate professor of history at Brown University, finds that Native Americans, including non-combatants who surrendered during King Philip's War to avoid enslavement, were enslaved at nearly the same rate as captured combatants. I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, that's not really bad. They were just enslaving motherfuckers. Absolutely. Then it goes on further and says Native American slavery is a piece of history of slavery that has been glossed over, Fisher said. Between 1492 and 1880, between 2 and 5.5 million Native Americans were enslaved in the Americas, in addition to 12.5 million African slaves. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're like, all right, not bad. So far, so good. While natives had been forced into slavery and servitude as early as 1636, it was not until King Philip's War that natives were enslaved in large numbers. Fisher wrote in the study, still saying, okay, not bad. 1636, King Philip's War, large number of slaves, cool. Then 1675 to 1767, war-pitted Native American leader King Philip, also known as Metacom, and his allies against the English colonial settlers. Still no problem. Now, during the war, New England colonies routinely shipped Native Americans as slaves to Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, the Azores, Spain, and Tangier in North Africa. Fisher says, pause. So let's talk about it. So this would necessarily, if you're following proper methodology and you're reading this article, the first thing that you would do is you should be now at the point of questioning the validity of the claim. For those of you who have never, and I repeat, never watched the Monster War Clan Lines with Sean show, in one episode or a show that I actually did, we talked about how to review sources and extract and recognize the claims, right? So Fisher says this, but what does history say to validate Fisher's claim? Remember, Fisher is an accredited professor, Brown University historian. So what is the intent or the purpose of Fisher's article? What is Fisher trying to get at? Well, for one, says that Native American history has been glossed over. So there's an intent to try to shed light on Native American enslavement. Cool, not a problem for me. Totally understand. We need to know the principal basis for everything that has transpired during the Holocaust, the enslavement, and the colonization of what we call the United States of America today. Not a problem for me. Next, but first, I'll skip the step. Before even going any further with your first initial question, you want to check out the credentials and the validity of the author, right? You want to see what other work this author has done. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go see what this associate professor and historian, let's see what type of work has been done by the professor. We're going to do this live on the air. All right. Now, the reason that we're going to do this live on the air is because I don't want no one saying any damn thing about any damn thing. So let's go over here and let's look at him together. All right. So Linford Fisher came to Brown University in 2009 and to the PSTC in 2016. He is a historian who writes and teaches on religion, Native Americans, and slavery in colonial America. He is the author of Indian Great Awakening, Religion and Shaping of Native Cultures in Early America, and the co-author of Decoding Roger Williams, the Lost Essays of Rhode Island's Founding Father. Fisher is currently working on a book-length project on Indian and African enslavement in colonial New England and several English Atlantic islands, including Bermuda, Barbados, and Jamaica. He's particularly interested in forced movement and forced migration of enslaved peoples around the Atlantic Basin into the early modern period. Fisher is also the author of a dozen additional essays and book chapters on a wide variety of topics related to American history. He has received numerous research fellowships for the National Endowment of the Humanities, the Massachusetts Historical Society, the American Antiquarian Society, the Newberry Library, the American Philosophical Society, Harvard University, Brown University, and most recently, the American Council of Learned Societies. Fisher is the principal investigator of database of Indigenous slavery in the Americas. In conjunction with the Center of Digital Scholarship at Brown, he and his graduate students are building a crowdsourced database of all known Native individuals who were enslaved anywhere in the Americas between 1492 and 1900. Although the project is still in the early phases, Fisher is developing a prototype in order to secure a larger building and sustaining grant. This project received startup seed funds from from the PSTC and the Social Science Research Institute at Brown. Here's the other publications, scholarly interests, and the department. All right, so now you have an idea of who Linford Fisher is. Okay, so now that you know who the author is, you can go back and you can analyze the information. So again, here's the claim. All right, the claim is on the screen. Now, I'm gonna say what I said again. Earlier, I'm gonna say it again. Fisher is the driving force behind a claim that was used by someone who said that Native Americans were shipped to North Africa, more specifically Tangier, but they did not know, right, where in North Africa. But they gave me the source. Think about what I'm saying to you. When I asked the question, where in North Africa were these people shipped, the person did not know. Now, where is Tangier, ladies and gentlemen? Tangier would be in Morocco, the northwestern part of Morocco. Okay. Now, Tangier. All right, this for all my Moroccans out there, all you want to be Moors and Moroccans, whatever the case. Now, many civilizations and cultures have influenced the history of Tangier from starting from before the 10th century BCE. Why would Native Americans be taken to Tangier? Now, again, in the article, there is nothing else that's going to tell us. I'm gonna go back to the article. I just wanted to show you Tangier, where it was at. Now, hold on. Sorry. Let me go back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you where it is via the map. It is up here at the tip. You know, where they can take those little boats right across here. Then next thing you know, you're in Europe. It's at the tip. So for those of you who don't believe me, just look over here at the wiki article, and it's going to show you where it's at. And go back. Look at the little dot right here. That's how close it is to being in Europe. It's at the very tip. This is where the Native Americans were taken, according to Fisher. Now, I say according to Fisher because there's not a lot of known scholarship on the subject matter of this specific claim here. Okay? There's none. And to be quite honest, I've been looking for a long time for information to support Fisher, right? But everything that I found took me back to Fisher. I'm gonna say it again. Right. It's 8 miles from Spain, right where they were dropping other motherfuckers off. So what I'm talking about here is this. How do you know that this was not a temporary drop-off spot before bringing them into Spain or sending them elsewhere? Because they are not known for being in Africa at all. And how many of them was it? So let's see what the article says. Now, I bagged off a little bit, but I'm going to zoom back in and see if I can get a better. There we go. There we go. All right, so let's continue in the article. Now, my first question is, how many people was it that was sent to Tangier in Morocco? And how long were they there? So those are two questions that I have, and hopefully the scholarship will answer the question for me, because it is Fisher making the claim. While Africans who were enslaved did not know where they would be taken, Native Americans understood that they could be sent to the Caribbean plantations and facing extremely harsh treatment, far from their homes and communities, according to the study. Fear this fate spurred some Native Americans to pledge to fight to the death, while others surrendered, hoping to avoid being sent overseas, the study found. Again, this is Fisher's study. So, look, Fisher's study. Why shall we have peace to be made slaves? Indian surrenderers during and after King Philip's War. It appears in the Journal of Ethnohistory, a volume devoted to scholarship on indigenous slavery in the New World. Native American enslavement was documented in colonial correspondence, shipping records, court cases, towns, colonial government orders, and petitions from colonists to the British government. So we should have shipping records of the Native Americans that were shipped from the Americas to Morocco. So I simply did this. Y'all heard me typing. I put in shipping records of Native Americans shipped from North America to Africa. Here's a source that comes up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this source is going to take you back to Fisher's article. Okay? This was posted February 16, 2017 by Gillian Kiley Brown. This talks about Philip's War, as you can see from the beginning. But look whose name comes up. Fisher. So we know that this is a secondary source that is referring to research or the study that Fisher published. So let's back up. Library of Congress. What is this saying? A Journey in Chains. While Europeans owned and operated slave ships, the work of, you can see it. The work of kidnapping victims was generally left to West Africans, bands of slavers from African courtside, yada, yada, yada. Oleano Equiano, he's up there saying whatever he's saying. He's not talking about no motherfucking Indians. So we can't use Equiano. This is the article that we already have up. Slave voyages. Let's go to slave voyages. Let's see. Will Slave Voyage tell us the story of how Native Americans were shipped to Africa? The answer to that question is no, because it's only going to talk about the transatlantic, and what it talks about in the transatlantic is about coming from Africa to the Americas. So that don't help. Then you have the middle passage. This is talking about something totally different, but we're going to click on it, right? Because we're trying to find justification for the situation. Okay. Now, it says Boston Cradle of Liberty, Faneuil Hall stands only step away from the sites of merchants sold enslaved Africans. So they're talking about enslaved Africans. This is not going to tell us anything about Indians, and this is going to give us the roles of people involved. So we can't use that. Now, for anyone wondering what the hell is Sean doing? Sean is looking to qualify the source. So we're going to go to Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History, and it talks about Indian slavery in the Americas. Now, I already have this source, okay? I already have this source. I'm going to show you. You're on one screen now. I'm about to share this screen. So again, what I just had on the screen, better yet, let me do it like this. You still see this right here, the title. Now, when I flip, you don't see the title no more, and I didn't scroll. So there's 2 articles up. So I already have this article up as one of the many sources that we have. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that I already had this information up. And I read this information, right? Because I am looking to qualify and substantiate Fisher's claim. Now, how many people you think read this after the claim? Well, do you think that the person that's regurgitating Fisher's position, do you think that they read anything else to support Fisher, or they stopped at Fisher? Put a 1 in the chat if you agreed that they went further than Fisher to substantiate Fisher's claim, or do you think that they did not? Put a 2. Stoic, it's in Morocco. It's a city in Morocco. All right, but let's see what this says. The story of European colonialism in Americas and its victimized of Africans and Indians follows a central paradigm in most textbooks. The African role encompasses the transportation of exploitation and suffering of millions in the new world of slavery, while Indians are described in terms of their succumbing in large numbers to disease, with the survivors facing disposition of their land. Let me stop real quick. There is no source out there that dismisses disease. The brother dismisses disease. He thinks it's a fictitious claim. Disease killed millions. And I'm going to show you that today. I shouldn't have to do this, right? But I'm having to do this because of the remedial level of other people. Now, one person put a 1 in the chat. To the person that put a 1 in the chat, do you have evidence that the person did go behind Fisher and find supportive evidence? Because they did not post any supportive evidence, only Fisher's article. And they didn't know the North African location of which the people were sent, or don't know anything about their whereabouts. And it ain't no damn Indians in Tangier, Africa, as of today. So if you think so, I will put the link in the chat, and you can clearly, if you have evidence of that, you can clearly provide it. Anyway, so again, it says the African role encompasses the transportation, exploitation, and suffering of millions of Americans in the New World slavery, while Indians are described in terms of their succumbing in the large numbers of disease, with the survivors facing disposition of their land. The paradigm, a basic one in the history of colonialism, omits a crucial aspect of the story. The indigenous peoples of America were enslaved in large numbers. This exclusion distorts not only what happened to American Indians under colonialism, but also points to the need of reassessment of the foundation of nature of European overseas expansion. Let me stop right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, we all should know that Europeans brought back with them to Europe American Indians. They even showed them to the Queen, I do believe. If I had the source around here to get with that, I do believe there was a conversation between people who were transporting these people and the Queen or other people. I think I have it in a presentation actually, where these things transpire, right? Because what other reason would they, you know, if the Indians were doing all the work and there was no problem and they wasn't dying by no diseases or anything like that, why would they even need Africans? What's that about? What's that about? So, without slavery, slave trade, and other forms of unfree labor, European colonizations would have remained extremely limited in the New World. The Spanish are almost totally dependent on Indian labor in most of their colonies, and even where unfree labor did not predominate. As in the New England colonies, colonial production was geared towards supporting slave plantation complex of West Indies. Thus, we must take a closer look at the scope of unfree labor, central means that which Europeans generated wealth that fostered the growth of colonies. So I wanna kind of get to this part right here. It says modern perception of early modern slavery associated the institution almost solely with Africans and their descendants. Yet slavery was ambiguous institution in the early modern world. Africans, Asians, Europeans, and Native Americans kept slaves before and after Columbus reached America. Here's the thing. It says Africans, Asians, Europeans, and Native Americans kept slaves before and after Columbus reached America. Now, all of those people, we ain't talking about Indians. We're talking about the institution of slavery before and after Columbus. Now, enslavement meant a denial of freedom and enslaved, but slavery varied greatly from place to place. We agree with that, as did the lives of slaves. The life of a Guinizaro, a slave soldier of the Ottoman Empire who enjoyed numerous privileges and benefits, immensely differed from an American Indian who worked in the silver mines of Peru or African who produced sugarcane in Barbados. Why would an African be producing sugarcane in Barbados if the natives are there to do it? Anyway, people could kept as slave or religious purposes, Aztecs and Pacific Northwest Indians, as a byproducts of warfare, where they made little contribution to the economy or basic social structure, Eastern Woodlands. In the Northern Society, slaves are central to the economy in many areas of West Africa. For instance, slaves were the predominant form of property and the main producers of wealth. Okay. Now it goes on here, it talks about a few other things, but Indians is not mentioned here, but they are in this paragraph. So in the wake of the deaths of the indigenous Americans from European convoy, oh, wait a minute. In the wake of the deaths of indigenous Americans from European conveyed microbes, that's pathogens, ladies and gentlemen, from which they had no immunity. So this kills the claim already. This kills one of the claims the person had made regarding disease. So the European conveyed microbes from which they had no immunity. The Spanish colonists turned to importing Africans. So one of the reasons that they turned to Africa to enslave Africans was because of disease. And the indigenous Americans had no immunity from the diseases that they encountered. So it wasn't not only, making them work and do certain things, but they encountered disease. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to pause real quick because this article is not going to tell us that Indians were shipped to Africa more specifically, but never mind. Let me not ruin it for y'all. Anyway. A racist and gross misinterpretation of this event posited that most Indians could not be enslaved because of their love of freedom, while Africans were used to having their labor controlled by big men in Africa. This dangerous view obscured a basic fact of early modern history. I'm going to run that back for everybody that may not understand what I just said. Right, Khalil? I know I ain't slow. Right? But you know how you be reading shit and you read it 5 years ago and you got to go back 5 years ago to bring this shit up. You're right, Khalil. He presented them to the queen and a lot of the motherfuckers was sick. Again, it says, in the wake of the deaths of indigenous Americans from European conveyed microbes from which they had no immunity, the Spanish colonists turned to importing Africans. A racist and gross misinterpretation of this event posited that most Indians could not be enslaved because of their love of freedom, while Africans were used to having their labor controlled by big men in Africa. This dangerous view obscured a basic fact of early modern history. Anyone could be enslaved. Let me stop real quick. Let me say this. This ain't the only reason. The diseases and them falling out from the diseases and getting sick real easy and not being able to do that work because they were encountering these new pathogens, that was one of the reasons. But there's other reasons as well. Ports in Africa was one of the reasons. Ports in Africa was one of the reasons. But in America, right, it became tougher for them to enslave Native Americans because they knew the terrain, they knew the layout, they knew where to run, where to hide. They could fight a little bit better, they can riot a little bit better, they can uprise a little bit better than anyone else because they knew the layout of the land, and those Europeans did not. Yep. So I'm not trying to bore y'all to death, but to answer particular research questions and confirm the validity of said claims, especially by a historian from Brown University, you would have to have read a lot of information to understand the full scope. Mind you, the author never claims that disease didn't wipe out the people. The person that brought the source made the claim, but that source wasn't for that. That source was to say that people were kidnapped in the Americas and shipped to North Africa, which is right near Spain at the tip in Morocco. So that is what we're trying to substantiate regarding the historian. Now, in the wake of the deaths of indigenous Americans, I read that a few times. So anyone could be enslaved. Over 1 million Europeans were held as slaves in 1530s through 1780s in Africa. And hundreds of thousands were kept as slaves by the Ottomans in Eastern Europe and Asia. So this is just giving you a rundown. But they don't say anything in this paragraph about Indians being enslaved and shipped to Africa. But watch this. With labor at a premium in colonial America, the economy was no shortage of people seeking to purchase slaves. Both before and during African enslavement in the Americas, American Indians were forced to labor as slaves in various other forms of unfree servitude. They worked in mines, plantations, apprentices of artisans, and as domestics, just like African slaves and European indentured servants. Notice the difference between African slaves and European indentured servants. As the Africans shipped to America, Indians were transported from their natal communities to labor elsewhere as slaves. Many Indians from Central America were shipped to the West Indies, also a common destination for Indians transported out of Charleston, South Carolina, and Boston, Massachusetts. Many other Indians were moved hundreds of thousands of miles within the Americas. The Sioux Indians from Minnesota region could be found enslaved in Quebec, Choctaws from the Mississippi and in New England, and a long-standing line of transportation of Indians led from modern-day Utah and Colorado south into Mexico. The European trade in American Indians was initiated by Columbus in 1493. Needing money to pay for this new expedition, he shipped Indians to Spain, where they already existed slave markets dealing and buying and selling Africans. Within a few decades, the Spanish expanded the slave trade in American Indians from the islands of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Cuba, and Bahamas. The great decline in the indigenous islands population, which largely owed to disease, slaving, and warfare, led the Spanish to then raid Indian communities in Central America and many of the islands just off the continent, such as Curaçao, Trinidad, and Aruba. About 650,000 Indians in coastal Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Honduras were enslaved in the 16th century. Conquistadors then entered the inland of American continents and continued the process. Hernando de Soto, very famous name, for instance, brought with him iron implements and enslaved people in La Florida, conquistadors, and Tamanas to carry their goods on these distant forays. Another form of Spanish enslavement of Indians in the Americas was the Canaille, which was similar to European serfdom, whereby Indians were tied to specific land, labor, rather than lords. And under the Ecomade system, Indians were forced to labor or pay tribute to the Ecomendadoro, who in exchange was supposed to provide protection and conversion of Christianity. The Acomodoros' power survived longest in the frontier areas, particularly in Venezuela, Chile, Paraguay, and in the Mexican Yucatan in the 19th century. So this article that we went to that's on that same drop has yet to place Indians in Africa, but they did put Indians in Spain. They said that. They put them in Spain. Okay? In South America and the inlands of West Indies, Europeans conducted a bulk of the slave raiding against Indians, except in Brazil, and the bandeirantes of mixed bloods were employed for slavery. Much of the enslavement of Indians in North America above Mexico was done by Indians. So Indians was enslaving Indians. North American Europeans did enslave Indians during wars, especially New England, the Paquette War, King Philip's War in the Southeast, the Tuscarora War, and the Yamasee War, and the Natchez War, just to name a few. But ordinarily, Europeans, especially the English and French, purchased their Indian slaves from Indians. All right, now, colonialists lured the supply to Indian slaves in exchange for trades and goods to obtain alliances with the Europeans and their Indian allies. Indian slaves against not only their enemies, but Indians that have never met. Many Indians recognized that they had little choice but to become slavers. If they did not do the Europeans' bidding, they could easily become victimized themselves. It was not unusual for peoples victimized by slaving to become slavers, and yada, yada, yada. Okay. So I don't want to take y'all any further because all of this is going to be about Africans and the enslaving of Africans and where they ended up, and the stuff talked about Indians is only going to be in the Americas. I'm not making it up. I'm not lying. You can see it on the screen, but I also provided you the source. So you could go behind me and clarify. But we're at the end of this particular article, and it ain't telling me that they shipped Indians to Africa. They ain't said it nowhere in this article. Okay? So you're probably thinking, but yeah, one of them got to agree, right? One of those articles got to take us somewhere. I mean, you could click on every last one of these articles, and anyone saying Native American historians uncovering and chilling, yada, 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 just click on them for yourself. Read. Right? Read. They displaced Native Americans. They enslaved Africans. Now, you can read this and you can see if this article supports enslaving Indians and sending them to Africa. You're not going to get nowhere. And I'm telling you over and over and over. And for those that say that it will, it's going to take you back to Fisher. This person. Okay? Now, I did all of that shit to show y'all that no matter where we go, Fisher is at the forefront of the claim that Indians were shipped to North Africa. Now, guess what? They could have been shipped to North Africa to board another ship to go to Europe. They could have. And that's how they get to North Africa. Real spill. Now, what I want to do is I want to shout out PBS, and I know I don't want to I'm not going to play too much of this video, but I want to put this on the screen for everybody, and y'all can watch it y'all damn self. But I only want to show a little bit of this video because I don't want to get it, you know, strike anything weird. So I may be pausing it a lot and talking.
Join us as we honor our troops, our veterans, and our military families.
The National Memorial Day Concert.
Join me, Joe Montaigne,
And me, Gary Sinise.
with Yolanda Adams, Dule Hill, Jodine Messina, Mary McCormick, S. Epatha Murkerson, The War and Treaty, and Megan
Got a
Hilty.
few more seconds.
Join us for a night to remember.
The National Memorial Day Concert premieres Sunday, May 28th, 8, 7 Central on PBS, the PBS app, and PBS YouTube channel.
Slave trade. So our final question is, why did European colonists start to look exclusively at West Africans as a source of slave labor? And how did the emergence of chattel slavery in the Americas differ from pre-existing forms? Remember that the colonies were established to make money for royal families and wealthy colonists. And a small class of wealthy colonists who owned large plantations looked to increase their margins through not paying for the labor that generated their cash crops. So it wasn't that slavery was needed to develop the colonies, but rather that it was decided that this was the quickest way to enrich the people invested in getting rich. Black slaves continued to arrive in the Caribbean, North America, and South America through the 16th, 17th, and 18th century. And it wasn't until the 19th century that slavery began to be eradicated. However, by this point, there was a large slave population in the Americas, and the condition of slavery was considered legally hereditary.
Now, let's go a little bit further. And I want to bag it to about right here. Now, the reason that I want to bag it right here is because she's gonna get ready to talk about one of her points. Okay? I have no affiliation with this woman. I didn't do anything biasly. I'm clearly presenting information to actually move the conversation forward and to eliminate the ignorance of other motherfuckers who make claims about certain things that they don't know about and don't know how to research. But got my name, all this stuff, and you know what I mean? Because you're mad and in your feelings, you want to argue. You do not want the smoke. Leave me alone. I wasn't bothering you. I ain't said nothing to you in a year. Totally forgot about who you were. Totally. Totally. Now, here we go.
Several key reasons. Namely, first, early attempts in the Americas to enslave Native Americans proved difficult because they had familiarity with the terrain of their own nations and land. As a result, the potential for escape or revolt was high. This made using a system of leading raids and then enslaving whoever lost the battle less achievable, since colonists had little to no idea how to survive in these new regions and often fell prey to diseases which Europeans had no immunity to, namely malaria. The subsequent rampant genocide of Native American people and the introduction of new diseases that decimated their population, namely smallpox from Europe, made...
I'm going to stop right there. The reason why I'm going to stop right there because I want y'all to watch it for yourselves.
Second, West Africa was often the source of forced and kidnapped laborers because of its proximity to seaports, which made contact between these three locations more possible. Also, laborers from West African countries were more familiar with the agricultural methods needed for mass cultivation of these kinds of crops in the New World.
Now, we learned a long time ago, 5 years ago, or more, even before that, some of us before that, we learned that the enslavement of Africans off the west coast of the continent was specific because of the labor and the crops. Because of the labor and the crops. So these different places were good at doing certain things that was beneficial, and people could handle their business, you know, like with rice, like with sugar, like with tobacco, right? Cotton, well, not necessarily cotton, but corn. You knew how to do some of that work. You already knew how to do some of that work. But that corn stuff, a lot of Indians were doing because they were familiar with that, and that was a big commodity for them. Sugar too. You know, they did know how to do some sugar. So there's no denial of that. Okay? But when you ask yourself, why did they enslave Africans? Oh, let me be a little bit more clear. Why would they enslave Africans if Indians could do the work? Why? They didn't need us. If the fucking Indians could have done the work and didn't have no problems with anything, what the fuck did they need us for? Mind you, I don't think that people think like this. Mind you, if these Indians were immune or had some level of immunity against old world diseases, then that would mean that they would have been familiar with those diseases at some time in history. But they were not. So why were they dying? So we're going to deal with that next. Because, you know, the way that I move is I move to eliminate the ignorance immediately. So this person claimed that the disease epidemic was fake. Okay. All right. So in 1972, a historian, Alfred Cosby, introduced the term Columbian exchange to refer to the interchange of plants, animals, bacteria, and people that occurred between the Old World, Eurasia and Africa, and the New World, the Americas and Australia. Following the arrival of Christopher Columbus in 1492, one of the most profound and far-reaching effects of the exchange concerned microorganisms and the diseases they caused. So in the Old World, epidemic crowd diseases had evolved along with the earliest civilizations, but they had no equivalents in the New World. When the new diseases spread it to the Americas and to the peoples who had never experienced them before, the results were dramatic and sometimes catastrophic. The interhemispheric disease exchange resulted in what was been called the greatest demographic disaster in human history. Millions died. I hope he's listening. Millions died. That would factor into why they would need Africans. Now, the list of disease, and plus they were already familiar with the enslavement because of the Iberian slave trade and the trans-Saharan slave trade. But the list of diseases introduced to the New World is long, and nearly all that could be supported in a temperate environment appeared in present-day Oregon. The most deadly were smallpox, malaria, viral influenza, yellow fever, measles, typhus, bubonic plague, typhoid fever, chlorea and pertussis, whooping cough, Among these, half appeared in the epidemic form in Oregon during the first century of contact from the late 1700s to the 1800s. It has been hypothesized that Oregon and West Coast participated in the first great pandemic of introduced epidemic disease, smallpox, in 1519, and the years following introduced to the mainland concurrent to Cortez conquest of Mexico. But there is no definitive proof of this anywhere in the Northwest. That's dealing with the Northwest. Whenever the first epidemics appeared, they had wide-ranging effects far beyond demographic decline. Cumulative evidence suggests that cultural unfamiliarity with a new disease, that is, people did not know how to treat them, and the lack of effective medicines may have been as of more important than biological resistance, genetic or acquired, and attempting to hide mortalities. The loss of population resulted in the abandonment and consolidated villages, the breakdown of social and political structures, and the loss of accumulated knowledge possessed by specialists in a culture without written record, making the epidemics cultural as well as biological disasters. So I'm not going to bore y'all to death, but I'm going to spoon feed you the way this shit goes. Smallpox, ladies and gentlemen, whoop they motherfucking ass. And what's so bad about it is this: an oral tradition from the Clatsop of a shipwreck and the introduction of spotted disease, however, dates to a decade before Robert Gray entered the Columbia in 1792, providing a close fit with the timing of East Coast epidemic. The epidemic probably occurred throughout the Pacific Northwest. There are records of oral tradition. Here we go again. Records of oral traditions from white explorers of pockmarked individuals among the Taligith, Haydeh, the Tasman, the Quacka, the Nuchalet, or the Nootka, the Lumi, the Puget Salis, the Tillamook, Coldville, Flathead, and Nez Perce. These are all Native American tribes. Oral tradition. The epidemiology of smallpox spread easily by a sneeze or through touch. We know this. We ain't got to go no further than that, right? We ain't got to go no further than that. They had malaria, ladies and gentlemen, in the area. Measles. What else was there? Right? It was more than just these. But these old world diseases spread rapidly and quickly, and the Indians did not know how to treat them. Oh, that's just one source, Sean. That's the white man's source. The white man, the white man, the white man. So I'm going to give you a news article. Now, the reason that I'm going to give you this news article is because I'm being sarcastic. But I'm going to give you this news article where they talk about it too. Right? They talk about it too. It's a little video right here, how they talk about a hard look at the treatment of Native Americans. Yeah, they talk about it too. And guess what, though? They also got in here the methodology. Researchers analyze Antarctic ice, which traps atmospheric gas and can reveal how much carbon dioxide was in the atmosphere centuries ago. Why would they do that? A small shift in temperatures about the 10th degree of the 17th century led to colder winters, frostier summers, and failing harvest costs. What does that mean? The opportunity of widespread diseases became more prevalent. So I'm just being a little sarcastic there, dropping that on you, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to bang you all the way out. So, the American genocide of Indians, ladies and gentlemen, this shit really happened. It really happened. And Tyson snoring his ass off. So that's who, for those of you who are not familiar with my dog in the background, he gonna snore the whole stream. I'm in his space, in his place, and he sleep. Now, the term genocide, made from the ancient Greek word genos, race, nation, or tribe, in Latin, cadere, killing, and annihilation, was first coined by Raphael Lemkin, a Polish Jewish legal scholar. I don't care nothing about none of that. But here's what this article gives you: historical facts and real evidence. Take your time. Read this, because it's going to tell you about how the evidence on the U.S. government's genocide against Indians. It's going to take you back to some dates, and it's going to provide you with some information, and you can see how they freaking treated the Indians. We know this. It's a long list of this fucking shit, right? But the mere fact is, I don't want nobody thinking that we do bias scholarship over here. We don't get down like that. We don't get down like that. So, I want to take you to another source. I'm going to bag up a little bit. This is the story of smallpox and other deadly Eurasian germs. Why is this relevant? Because this wiped out the Inca and the Aztec. This is what was going on when they met the Inca and the Aztec. Read this for yourselves. For those of you who felt like disease was not a really big deal. The article says when the Europeans arrived carrying germs which thrived in dense semi-urban populations, the indigenous peoples of the Americas were effectively doomed. They had never experienced smallpox, measles, or flu before, and the viruses tore through the continent, killing an estimated 90% of the fucking Native Americans. So now here's the next thing. Why is there only less than 250,000 or somewhere around that Native Americans in North America today? Where the rest of them go? If the whole disease thing is a myth or a lie, where did the millions of fucking Native Americans go? You're going to say 2.5 million was enslaved, but they were not transmitted up out of the continent. Only so many left the continent to go visit Europe and tend to land and be slaves in Europe. That wasn't millions. It wasn't millions sent. So where the hell did they go? Sutex says to Atlantis. That's crazy. So I'm just doubling down on disease, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm showing you some stuff. So real quick, I want to take you to a site, U.S. riddled with massacre genocides. And this talks about those genocides. And, you know what shows up here, right? 2.4 million between 2000 to 2.4 million between 1625 and 1775 displacing Native Americans from Eastern North America. Yeah, that's part of that. And, it says other things. Surviving descendants of Native American tribes lived in poverty. Yeah, it talks about all of this. So I just wanted to shed some light on that for everyone. Now, what I'm doing now, if you don't know what I'm doing now is I am providing, at this time, I am providing supportive evidence for my position. So for those of you who don't know what the fuck I'm doing, that's why I ain't reading all of these articles. I'm showing supportive evidence for my position. Now, historical context, facts about the slave trade and slavery by Steve Mintz. Check the article out. It's going to give you those numbers again. Now, this don't say anything about the Indians. This talks about the African. I am African. I am not trying to negate the Indian experience. I am only here to shed light on the African experience and who we descend from directly. I am not trying to say that the Indian is this or that. I have people who are of Native descent who support the shows that I have done as it helps them in their fight for their own history against people who are hijacking their shit. Next, the doctrine of discovery. There's two of these doctrines, but the doctrine of discovery. You need to know this shit. You need to know the doctrine of discovery and deal with both of them. Because this allowed them to do what they did to a lot of people. And to act like that is fake or didn't exist is crazy. So here from the Indigenous Corporate Training, Inc., they have a site talking about the 5 things to know about the doctrine of discovery. And what's interesting in here is that they talk about Canada and how some of the things are still relevant or prevalent in Canada as far as the doctrine of discovery. But this talks about within the framework of the doctrine, indigenous peoples in Americas were considered non-human. Everyone should understand that, just like the African. We were and they were considered non-human. That was the intent of the doctrine, to allow them to enslave and conquer and do whatever they need to do. Now, I'm not going through all of this, but like I told you about Canada, you need to check that shit out because the shit's still relevant. All right. Give y'all some more. Now, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. So here is Smithsonian's Perspective, The Other Slavery by Andreas Resendez. Okay. Hey, yo, Honey Claw, you still in the chat? Yeah, hit that like button for us. Real quick, Honey Claw, you still in the chat? I need you for a second. While we waiting to get that response. All right. So here we go. Listen, I provide y'all with everything. So this is presented by the Smithsonian Latino Center, the National Museum of American Indian and National Museum of African American History and Culture in association with the Smithsonian Initiative, Our Shared Future, Reckoning with Our Racial Past. Read this. Read this. Here you go. It talks about 2.5 to 5 million Native Americans enslaved. All Europeans took part in the human trafficking: English, French, Dutch, Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? They throw it on that. Then they come back, and it emerged the greatest enslaver of indigenous Americans to extract the hemisphere's wealth. Ironically, beginning in Columbian times and Spanish crown, prohibited the indigenous slavery except in few circumstances. In 1542, it banned the practice entirely. So from here on, no Indian could be made into a slave under any circumstance, including wars, rebellions, and ransom from other Indians. So this is significant in answering why Africans. Hey, come here real quick. Get on the panel. The bar reloaded. Jazz on the panel. Now, unlike African slavery, which remained legal and sanctioned by empires around the world for centuries, the enslavement of Native Americans was against the law. Yet this categorical prohibition did not prevent Spanish colonists from taking enslaved indigenous peoples all over the hemisphere and even importing them into the Philippines to get around the royal prohibition. Spanish colonialists and entrepreneurs, in the collusion with some of the royal officials, resorted to legal subterfuges, carved in exceptions of diverse kaleidoscope labor arrangements, such as the encomadores and the repartidos and the nobles, convicted leasing Indians and deposits, debt peonage, and many others. All right, hold on one second. I need you to read something for me. Let me know if you can see it. He said you to read.
Hold on.
Sute crazy. Sute called you the reading relief.
Anyway, I gotta just make it bigger. From what part?
Can you see it?
Yeah, indigenous slavery. That part.
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, read that.
Okay, indigenous slavery long predated the arrival of Europeans in the Americas. As far back as we can peer into, pre-contact monuments, codices, and archaeological evidences, as well as the earliest European accounts, we learn about indigenous Americans enslaving one another.
Mm-hmm.
The Maya and Aztec took captives to use as sacrificial victims. The Iroquois waged mourning wars
Yep.
on neighbors to avenge and replace their dead. Native groups along the North Pacific coast finalized elite marriages by exchanging enslaved people, and so on. These practices of bondage were embedded in specific cultural contexts. Europeans tapped into them and went on to commodify and expand them in ways that would have been unimaginable in earlier times. By the 17th century, Mapuche captives from southern Chile were marched to the port of Valparaiso and shipped all the way to Peru. Unpaid Apache laborers from northern Mexico were taken as far south as Cuba and as far north as Canada, and enslaved people from Asia were transported across the Pacific to work in cities and mines in North America.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, to root words, these his people. But which one is his people? Because there's people on the ground begging, and there's people up top look like they got control. But they all just, similar color. Now I'm being funny about root word. But anyway. All right, let's go.
Over the centuries, forms of enslavement changed in character from culturally specific native practices to broader imperial and seigneurial labor arrangements such as encomiendas and repartimientos, to more economic-based forms of bondage such as debt peonage, until the arrangements came to resemble the kind of human trafficking recognizable to us today. It is tempting to think of indigenous slavery as a phenomenon of the earlier colonial period, a set of practices that fell into disuse once Africans were brought to the Americas in sufficient numbers. In reality, native slavery in its many guises coexisted with African slavery all along and proved nearly impossible to eradicate. Okay. Who exactly were these enslaved native people? In contrast to African slavery, which targeted adult males, most enslaved indigenous Americans were women and children. The preference was often reflected in sale prices. Native women could be worth 50 or 60% more than men. Sexual exploitation and women's reproductive capabilities were part of the reason for this price premium, which existed in the Caribbean, Chile, and New Mexico, and remained in place from the 16th through the 19th century. Some sources also point to the convenience of having women rather than men in the domestic sphere. To explain the higher price fetched by Paiute women, for instance, American trapper Daniel W. Jones noted in his 1850 book, 40 Years Amongst the Indians, that the girls have the reputation of making better servants than any others. Just as masters wanted docile women, they also showed a clear preference for native children. Children were more adaptable than grown-ups,
learn languages more easily, and could even come to identify with their captors. Indeed, one of the most striking features of indigenous slavery is that those held in bondage could eventually join their captors' societies. While for African captives, enslavement was often passed on from one generation to the next, for Native people the condition proved more fluid. Its victims would become menial servants and with luck attain some independence and a higher status.
Can you see? Even of the course of a lifespan. You can see it though.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I can see that part.
You see that?
Although enslaved African and Native people were engaged in a variety of activities in rural and urban settings, they were especially prevalent in the production of certain commodities, just as enslaved Africans were common on rice, tobacco, coffee, and above all, sugar plantations. Enslaved indigenous workers were closely tied to the mining economy, the backbone of colonial Latin America. In Mexico, go down
My bad.
or up. I don't know. Yeah. Alone, the mining economy was the equivalent of 12 California gold rushes, unfolding over the course of the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. The California gold rush attracted some 300,000 people from across the world. If Mexico's silver boom had occurred in the 19th century, it would similarly have become a worldwide magnet for voluntary laborers. But because the earlier boom predated newspapers, steamboats, and widespread transoceanic travel, it unfolded at a time when the Spanish monarchy prohibited foreigners from going to the silver districts. The people of Mexico had to make do with their own resources, especially Native Americans, along with African and Asian enslaved people. Indigenous peoples who lived around the mines were the first to be pulled into the system. Spanish soldiers and volunteers rounded them up and sold them to the miners for 30 to 50 pesos apiece. Other native peoples may have arrived voluntarily but were soon ensnared by debt. Still, others were compelled to work in the mines in a type of corvée labor known as repartimiento. When the local indigenous communities became depleted, mining entrepreneurs looked farther afield. The mines of northern Mexico, for instance, imported native laborers from a catchment area that eventually extended as far as North Carolina, New Mexico, and Texas.
Hold up. All right, so we're gonna run it down right here.
One of the most fascinating aspects of indigenous slavery is the involvement of native people themselves. They were part of the slavery enterprise from inception. At first, they offered captives to European explorers and colonists, serving as guides, guardsmen, intermediaries, local providers, and junior partners. But as native peoples acquired European weaponry and horses, they increased their power and came to control much of the trade. For instance, in the 16th century, the Carib Indians suffered greatly at the hands of Spanish slavers because they were widely believed to be cannibalistic. By the late 17th and early 18th centuries, however, the Carib has consolidated their position on the Llanos, which is the plains of Colombia and Venezuela, as the principal suppliers of enslaved laborers to the nearby French, English, and Dutch colonies. Continue.
Yeah. And no, hold up. That's just
Okay.
talking about whatever's going on. But all in all, this article is giving you great in-depth information in eight pages, and allowing you to see what actually transpired. So the bulk of what is actually happening, we know about. We're not denying any type of enslavement of Native Americans and them being removed from their present lands to a different place to work. But what we do not see and what we do not have evidence for is Native Americans being sold into slavery and shipped to Africa, more specifically Tangier in Morocco, and they being sold up there. There's no evidence of that. So to insinuate that they were shipping slaves out of the Americas to Africa is fucking genuous. Hold on one second. Somebody just came in and we almost, oh, you fell off and you back. All right, so
Oh, back here. I'm reading from here.
we're finna move on to the next source. All right, so this brings us here. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to the indigenous Americans who visited Europe. A new book reverses the narrative of the Age of Discovery, which has long evoked the ambitions of Europeans looking to the Americas rather than vice versa. All right. So, all right, can you see that? In 2006?
I can blow it up. Yeah. In 2006, Elizabeth II finally responded to a complaint originally aimed at her 18th century ancestor, George II. Welcoming a delegation from the Mohegan tribe, the British Queen accepted a petition originally brought to England in 1735 by Sachem Mohammed Leonormand, who wanted the crown to acknowledge the crisis posed by British settlement of tribal lands in what is now Connecticut. Leonormand contracted smallpox and died before he could present his petition to a royally appointed commission.
Hold on, what happened to this? What happened to this person?
He contracted smallpox and died.
So this is proof that disease was killing motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Come on.
He contracted smallpox and died. Oh, before he could present his petition. No sé a qué dónde. Oh, almost 2 centuries later, Elizabeth fulfilled a request from the modern-day Mohegan to erect a monument in Leonormand's memory. Crafted from Connecticut pink granite, the sculpture was installed on the grounds of Southwark Cathedral near his unmarked grave on November 22nd, 2006. The Queen presided over the dedication ceremony, accepting a copy of the original petition and a red stone peace pipe from the delegation.
There you go. Let's go.
Leonormand's story, in which a Native American leader journeys east to Europe, runs counter to common assumptions about indigenous people and colonization. The Age of Discovery, as the century between the mid-1400s and mid-1500s is commonly known, has long evoked the ambitions of Europeans looking west to Americans rather than vice versa. Christopher Columbus is the default example, an Italian who famously sailed the ocean blue in 1492 on the first of 4 major voyages for the Spanish crown. Beyond Columbus, explorers who introduced the possibilities of American riches, lands, and people to their royal patrons, and eventually the wider world, included Spain's Hernán Cortés, Portugal's Vasco da Gama, England's Sir Walter Raleigh, and France's Jacques Cartier.
Pause. Hold on. Pause. These are important chroniclers of their time. This is where we get a lot of our firsthand accounts about what actually transpired during the transatlantic voyage of Columbus and their enslavement and behavior of the people who were aboard those ships. Okay.
Despite efforts to change the public's understanding of this era of exploration, celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day, for example, helps shed light on the destructive legacy of colonization. The basic European-dominated narrative has proved difficult to dislodge. In her new book, On Savage Shores, How Indigenous Americans Discovered Europe, Caroline Dodds Pinnock reverses this oft-repeated narrative, demonstrating that Leah Norman's trip to England was part of a lengthy history of Indigenous people crossing the Atlantic. A historian at the University of Sheffield in England, Pinnock explains the tens of thousands of Indigenous people traveled to Europe after 1492, whether as diplomats and leaders, enslaved laborers, or the wives and children of European men.
All right, so again, they were diplomats, leaders, enslaved laborers. So we got enslaved laborers and wives and children of European men, which means that they were boning down the Native American women. All right. So these are the people that were going to these places. Okay. So Cortez's son, Martin, for example. Go ahead. You fired off again?
No, I'll read it. Cortez's son Martin, for example, was born in Mexico City in 1522, the child of an indigenous woman known as La Malinche. He traveled to Spain as a toddler and was raised as a Spanish nobleman. During his illustrious military career, this indigenous knight, as Pinnock calls him, even returned briefly to Mexico to meet his mother's family. Martin's experience in Europe was far from typical. Most indigenous Americans who traveled to the continent were enslaved, and many died from smallpox or other diseases. Still, their stories show how much historians have missed by assuming that Europeans were the only ones who crossed the Atlantic to see new worlds. Indigenous people's voyages, says Pinnock, speak to a bigger story that is incredibly relevant right now about the origins of our world as an entangled cosmopolitan place. The Smithsonian chatted with Pinnock to learn more about her research and its implications.
All right, so I'm gonna pause right here because it starts to get into her interview and her work. I suggest you read the entirety of that particular article. But why did I want you to see this? Because I wanted to show that there were people who were delegations of Native American tribes, and that they actually took voyages to England, and there were also slaves aboard that. So imagine these people being astute, but riding next to or alongside Native Americans who were just sold to the Europeans on their way to Europe. All right. Now, I added another source in there. We're not going to read this one, but it's about enslaved Native Americans played a central role in the 1600s New England household, and this just provides an extra layer of evidence on what happened and their participation in that. And I'm not negating anything or taking anything away from Native Americans. However, the bulk of Native American existence in the Americas was short-lived because of diseases, which someone said that shit never happened. Now, that's actually the last source. So I want to kind of run. I want to kind of run things down to everybody real quick. How did we get here again? So we got here because old boy said that Native Americans were shipped to Africa, but he didn't know exactly where in Africa. And he's the one who provided the source, which is from Fisher. Fisher is the leading person, the leading candidate of this particular claim. Okay. And you can't get around it. It is him who makes the assertion. And that's why I asked, do we think that the brother substantiated the claim? And many of you said you don't think so. Some said that he did. And that's a problem. We're not saying that they weren't shipped other places. We do have evidence of that. That's neither here nor there. They said they enslaved 2.5 million Native Americans. That's a horrible number. But a lot of them also did not survive because of diseases. which is something that the dude tried to ignore and say that never happened because they were sending these Indians to the Caribbeans to do slave work. They were sending them in other places to do slave work. And you're absolutely correct. They did send them to the Caribbeans to do slave work. But for how long? Right? They did send them to Europe to do slave work, but for how long? A lot of them didn't make it. Right? Smallpox is real. So you can't make those assertions or those claims. And you can't hinge your whole argument on one source, which is Fisher, because that is the person that is making the claim. And then there's no supportive evidence because the study is done by Fisher. And guess what? Did y'all see me show y'all a study that was done by Fisher? Yes or no? I didn't. So where's the study? And let's analyze and critique the study. I can't find the study. I can't find.
So wait.
Yeah.
So what was he drawing his data from? I mean, to make the claims that he made, you have to have something that you followed.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can't find the study. I've been looking for it, but it just keeps taking me everywhere else. I put in his name. It just gives me his credentials. Maybe it's in the book, The Great Awakening, but I haven't read the book. And it never said that it was in the book. It said that it was a study. So I haven't found it. But if someone finds it or has it, share it, and we can go ahead and we can deal with it.
So it's basically like learning how to source stuff. Hey, look, that's part of my class right now too. Like knowing what's a actual like valid source, and not just going with anything that you find. Because if you can't like cross check your work and stuff with other sources, like chances are that it didn't.
Susan said, "I have so many questions."
Yeah, chances are that it's not right. It's probably somebody's opinion or kind of like a blog piece. It could be an opinion.
Because think about it. He gives me the article, but he doesn't provide me the source. Now, I don't say this on the show that I was on because I'm sitting here trying to get understanding from the dude, but he's trying to act like he don't understand what I was asking him at the same time. And then he wanted to run his mouth about two different time periods. I'm in one time period, and he trying to jump up to the 1600s, and we still in the 1450s. Or we're in the 14. I was in the 1450s. He trying to talk to me about the 1600s, talking about North Carolina. No, North Carolina ain't even established yet. It's not established yet in regard to what I am dealing with and talking about. Because disease was killing these people way before North Carolina was established. And he didn't want to admit or omit in the instance to that. And things went left. Then he started muting me. Then he put me in the back. He put me in the back once. I left. I wasn't finna sit in the back for you to try to spin a narrative because your ass wrong and you can't get around my question that I asked you because you never thought about it, because you lack comprehension, scientific literacy, and the ability to express proper research methodology. All because your ego is in the way and you're not understanding that you needed more evidence. We don't believe you. You need more people. Where is Fisher's study? How did Fisher arrive at the conclusion that Fisher did? Using what evidence? If we get that evidence, then we could understand Fisher's argument. And then we could either A, support Fisher, or B, reject Fisher. And it's 2023. What the fuck is that data? And notice, no one else is sourcing or relying on Fisher's work. Fisher's work is only mentioned in Brown University and then two other websites that refer back to his article. So it is what it is. Negroes is Negroes, and they don't study. So we don't have evidence to substantiate that Indians were shipped to Africa, because that's what he said. We ain't got the evidence. We have someone claiming to have a study that puts them specifically in Tangier, which is 8 miles from Spain. Like the motherfuckers wasn't on their way to Spain anyway. They could have stopped over there, sat there for a day or two, got them some punani, and then set sail because they needed some resources. We don't know that. We don't know what they did. We don't have the records for that. So I would love to see the study. So if any of you Google scholars are on Google right now and can go find the 2017 study of Linford Fisher, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, y'all.
Maybe it's in Google Scholar. Go to the Google Scholar website.
Well, the article that I'm looking at,
if it was peer reviewed, it might be there. It
Mm.
probably wasn't though.
I don't think it was either.
I was like, oh.
I don't think so either. Because he works for the university, right? Brown University. So biasly, Brown University or whoever publishing the article in that university, they gonna do it anyway. Hell, Reggie pseudo-ass article got published in a supposedly peer-reviewed journal.
Maybe I should look at my school's library. You think they have it? Fisher. What's the name of it?
All right, so the name of Fisher is Linford D. Fisher. Linford, Linford. D. Fisher. This mug and fell off looking for the source. And Sutek just keep putting himself in and out, in and out. I bring you in, you go out. I bring you in, you go out.
Do that shit all the time. Hey, what was his point in saying, like, what was his point in showing this?
I think his point was that the Indians had never died from disease. He was saying that the Indians, the disease thing is a myth. He's content. When I talked to his buddy even said that, hold on, let me get to it. And maybe this will help you out in understanding, dude. But his buddy said, hold up, I went too far. Dang. Where you at, dude? Let me just put his name in there. And he online right now too. I think he listening to the show. He ain't said nothing. But he said that he think our black ass is Abo, but we've been indoctrinated by the conqueror, so he intelligent enough to decipher the information. That's what he said. He says that but the MVP hearing invasion brought the storyline content.
So you an elbow?
Nah, he said we are. What he said. The dude said, hold on. Let me see what this says. Hold on.
Hey, Sean, I just want to hear the story, bro.
Oh, never mind. He just responded to something I said. So that ain't gonna help. But yeah, the brothers of the belief that the disease thing is a myth, and that the Indians were already here and could already do the work. That's his position. So him bringing that up was to show that they indeed kidnapped Indians and shipped them all over the world. And that's how the numbers drop, not by disease. So that would be his argument if I understand it correctly.
Wow.
And he doesn't have evidence for it. He just has this one article by Professor Fisher, who seems to be the only person with this information. And I still ain't found the paper.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how the fuck did Fisher even come to this conclusion, bro? Like, what are you basing that off of? Do you have any primary evidence? Or you just saying that shit? Like, where did that come from? We need to see that study, basically.
Mm-hmm. Fisher doesn't negate the fact that Africans were enslaved and brought to the Americas. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. But it's his claim, because his claim is published in the National Library of Medicine. I don't know why. They're under ethnohistory, and that's from 2017. But like I said, there's no other evidence, right, that would support Indians being enslaved and shipped to Africa. And I still ain't found the study at all. Or the, not study, but the actual, the study. That's what he said. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we can't look at the evidence.
Phoenix Moon.
Yeah, look what Mike said. Look what Mike said. Mike said he said Indians never died of European disease. Mm-hmm. He said that. He said that. He said the Indians never died of European disease, and that was a lie. And then he said most of my Choctaw ancestors died of smallpox. My bad, Mike. The Choctaw began to adopt most native refugees, blacks and others. That's how the Choctaw Nation rose. Yeah, my bad, Mike. I ain't mean to click on dude comment. No one is denying slavery, bro. You late to the party. You have to catch the beginning of the build in order to understand what we were talking about, or what we are talking about. But someone made a claim. You look at the title, and they don't have evidence for the claim. And the claim originates from a professor from the Brown University, Linford D. Fisher. All the references go back to 2017. It's 2023. We should have more information if Fisher was on it.
Well, y'all never talked about the Arab slave trade, bro. This ain't got nothing. We have, but this ain't got nothing to do with the topic.
Yeah, no. So I don't know. I think if we get our hands on the study, we can see how he would come to that conclusion. Now, mind you, everything again is in the description of the video. He said he'd been here for a minute. Y'all talking points don't change. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's D-Red. I put it on the screen. It's Linford D. It's this article right here. But it's the only available information regarding the subject matter of the claim. It's only coming from one direction. There's not multiple scholars that are building on this or expounding on this right here. And we in 2023, and we ain't got the dang on study. This whole article shows up in the National History of Medicine under ethnohistory. Fisher study. Look at that. I can't get to the study. If that's the study, appears in the journal Ethnohistory, devoted scholarship. I can't get there, bro. They probably took that stuff out by now. But he only mentions people being shipped to North America early on in the article. There's nothing else in this article that would support Native Americans being shipped to Morocco. What's up, Honey Claude? You back? Did you find it?
No.
What free real information? What sources don't support talking points?
That's real rap.
Oh, that's Waterworld, man.
Yeah, Waterworld. So I think he's just talking to just talk in the chat, because he doesn't know that everything that we showed from the disease, he talking about he been here for a minute. He ain't been here for a minute, bro. Shit, I just went through 15 sources. There's no way that he been here for a minute. And plus, he don't even know the claim. So, you know what I mean? We ain't dealing with Waterworld. He just wants some attention today. Go put your mask on, bro. And go swimming.
Yeah, I don't know what he talking about. Yeah, you gotta go back and clean your gills, bro. We multiple sources brought up. You gotta clean your gills out.
He tripping, bro. He don't even know what we're talking about. What's our position? What's our position? You know, he came on saying who's denying slavery or the slave trade, and why y'all never talk about the Arab slave trade. We talk about the Arab slave trade. Nigga, I got a book on the fucking Islam.
What the Arab slave trade got to do with an abo? Like, why are you worried about it?
Right. It ain't crazy, bro. Who don't respect sources that don't? He's stupid. Never mind.
All the abos.
They don't have sources. What sources do they get?
Madam Blavatsky and Danny Calloway.
I ain't going too far with that shit.
That's his source.
This dude got a high school education. Was a Marine. Start listening to Danny Calloway and Madam Blavatsky because you had a conversation with him.
No, who?
You
I never had a conversation with these people.
You was talking to Real Rap in the chat.
Who was Real Rap?
That day over there on Not a Coincidence channel. He was over there talking about shit. He was trying to be an Abo and an African at the same time.
I don't remember. I only know Zab because I did that thing and he was like, I'm gonna strike you. And then I know root words and that other dude, Kiowa.
Kiowa ain't been around. Well, we ain't been around Kiowa. He's stupid too. They all know they lack education. Tell me.
Well, that's the same thing I used to say about Hebrews. So there's very few that have education. Maybe that's like a reason why they can't like read and comprehend.
That's the running theme.
Like you have to learn how to read and comprehend. That's like, but you learn that in like school. So if you can learn how to read all day, but if you don't comprehend what you read, like what's the point?
But some of these niggas know how to read and comprehend, somewhat comprehend. But who are that?
Man, that motherfucker ain't getting in here. Hold up. Yeah, it's Waterworld.
Water Wheezy. I don't even know the fish language.
Who is that?
Hold up, let me see. Who is this? State your claim.
It's Real Rap. It's Waterworld. What's good with it?
Boom. We invite your dumb ass on the panel. We ain't doing stupid right now, bro. Sorry. We let you talk for 2 hours the last show. We ain't let you talk no more.
I missed that one. Y'all was over here?
Yeah, we let him sit here and say what he had to say.
I want to hear the water world. That shit sounds
Nah,
biblical.
he didn't say that over here. He didn't say that over here.
Oh.
He said that shit on Not a Coincidence channel.
They call a nigga a water bug. Oh shit.
That was rude as hell. I mean, he got up here with confidence. He clicked up with confidence.
It's Waterworld.
It's Waterworld.
I said, "What's up, man?"
Right. This is the same Waterworld that was disrespectful, right? Y'all remember how he was talking over there? He was managed. After your mama this, your mama that.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah. That's Waterworld.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You think I'm finna let you talk on my panel? You know what I'm saying? On this channel? Shoot. Good luck.
I don't know what
Waterworld, that's the sleepy guy?
Nah,
hold on. I got it. I got it. I got it.
I remember.
He finna be in the chat typing 80 miles an hour because he in his feelings. Rightfully so. You should be in your feelings. Because we don't want to hear nothing you gotta say.
this nigga said we came from the water. Like nobody agrees with you on that, dog. Like you try to create your own theory. That shit whack.
Yeah, he did. He called it a theory too.
A hypothesis, a dumbass hypothesis.
Yeah, he called his shit a scientific theory. That threw me all the way off. That's when you know he was full suit off. Callie was trying to save him and everything. Ain't no saving this guy. Ain't no saving this guy. Ain't no saving this guy. There you go, Hunter Claus. You see it?
That is the sleepy nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the one who was up there like a punch-drunk 3-year-old.
Nah, that was I know what you talking about.
That's both of them. That's who she called a sleepy him because he was on the panel yawning. He was in his feelings. He was gonna cry in the car.
He just started going crazy. Oh, Sean, like just start.
Nah, you talking about the dude who said he was gonna spank Sean?
No, that was the older dude.
Now the other dude,
I'm talking about him.
Other dude, I kept telling the other dude to go to sleep though. The old man, that's why I
thought that's who you talking about.
No, I'm talking about him. He was sleepy. He was actually sleepy on the panel. He just looked like it was time for him to go. And he kept trying to read like some long ass shit.
That nigga went and threw his Snuggie on in the middle of the show. Looking hella sleepy. That was him.
Yeah, now you remember he's in the hella sleepy.
Nigga threw a Snuggie on.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to read how something came from a plant and shit. Sounded like Dr. York.
Yeah, he did. He did sound like York.
Do you think that people had green skin and that's what melanin was? That's what York said.
He
It
said
goes
that.
with your plant life theory. Huh? No, the dude was trying to he was trying to go from almost like a prokaryote or something, like all the way up to like a person. Basically almost saying like we evolved from like or related to plants and all that shit, and it was some weird ass shit, but it go along with Dr. York's doctrine. But when I asked about Nawabian doctrine or something, he acted like he didn't know what it was. But it sounded like it.
Yeah, his
He
problem
probably
is
believe in like that horizontal gene transfer shit too. Like,
he trying to say we directly came from like plants and marine life. Like it's I mean obviously we did evolve way down the line millions of years ago from that shit, probably billions, but yeah, nah, he talking like we directly evolved from a fucking
a
4-leaf
plant,
clover
yes,
or something.
exactly. But that's part of that doctrine though. When I think what did they call it, pickle man or something? He was green.
I've
It
never
was green. It was like basically his idea was that the melanin that people had back in the day was actually green because of us evolving from like plant life and things like that and having like this close genetics with like plants. So he was saying like that the melanin was not dark; it was actually green. And then they used that birthmark that y'all was talking about before. That was like bluish green on people.
On the back.
Yeah, and they were saying like that is like basically what is left of that kind of melanin because at a point in time, all of us were green.
the Mongolians.
And that's the
Mongolian.
yes, but they're using that. He was using like those spots to say like that's actually how our whole skin was, and now people just have these spots left over because of all of the stuff. How we evolved from not having green skin. So that's what his doctrine is reminding me of. Yeah, we left Planet Risk exactly. So yeah, so like that, but his plant life doctrine it sounds the same. He's just taken out a little bit, and so now it's not sounding like Dr. York. It's all recycled.
Really? Yeah, it's forget that dude. He still talk. I told you he gonna talk about in a minute, bro. If you drive big trucks and you be tired, take your sleepy ass to sleep. Cause you tired right now. You typing too much. Don't use us to try to stay woke. We ain't
I knew that
entertaining.
nigga was sleepy. I knew he was sleepy.
So he said,
maybe that's why he said this shit because he's sleeping.
Yeah, Mike, he said that.
Direct connection with fungi. The fuck is he talking about though? Your theory, quote unquote. Does any other person in academia agree with you?
No, but that's because it's a conspiracy.
Exactly.
He said, look it up. What he want us to look up? Yeah, we come from fungi.
Fungi man. Mushroom man.
Bro, this nigga, he do hard drugs.
So what he said is that Sean is a complete cannibal because he just eats no meat, vegetables. He is just eating up his family. That is fucked up. Fucked up. Can't believe this shit.
He said, "I have this good white scientists to back my claims, like y'all like it." What?
Like y'all like it.
This nigga.
If you don't have a seat, who convinced you of this shit? Was it those? I mean, you had to be.
Yeah, those good white scientists swindled your motherfucking ass. Let me see.
So, do you go out and fight against vegans? I would think you would fight against anybody doing all of that, eating up your family and shit.
Fungi man. Nah, I respect vegans. Well, you slow. Not a coincidence. Where you at, bro? Is the elbows live somewhere or something? Cause you ain't at work, bro. You told me your schedule. You be having 4-day weekends. So you getting it in tomorrow. You don't go to work till Tuesday.
I be dropping this shit in elbow chats and the elbow groups and shit. They don't be fucking with it.
He got a Discord. Yeah, you know they don't like me, bro. They mad. They see my name. They got to get up out of there. I bet you they want to kick you about the chat. Cause you be posting this shit in there.
Yeah, Phoenix Mom just said some shit. Get your ass on over here.
What you say?
He said he respects vegans.
Not a she ain't here, bro.
He's trying to tell not a coincidence to go live so you can talk. Why don't you go live? Do y'all got channels? I'll invite you on my channel. But they might come.
Bet you will.
Shut up, Syntax. Just because I don't try to beat up everybody.
That's a pseudo.
Like y'all.
Start going live, letting them niggas up there.
Most of you, y'all, I'm gonna have to let y'all up. And y'all just rude. Even though they wrong, you know that they slow. So I feel like that y'all should treat them like they're slow. And walk them down things like this is why this source is credible and yours isn't. And stuff like that. Because they don't know.
Yeah, they ain't trying to hit it though. They be slow and still don't be trying to hit that shit. They don't want to get corrected. They got egos.
I have an ego too, but I can be corrected.
I know.
If you want to be right, I mean,
You know you got an ego.
You know
oh my God, you know what? This is not about me. We're talking about eyeballs.
You brought yourself into it.
You pretty much did.
But I'm saying that I can be corrected though, sirs.
Look at the structure is tied to.
I ain't started with no disrespect. I just called you a motherfucker. That wasn't disrespect. Ain't nothing wrong with being a motherfucker. I'm a motherfucker. You a motherfucker too. Motherfucker. You like mothers, don't you?
What if he doesn't? What if he likes the other thing?
Like fathers or something.
You're
He might take offense to the end of that, you know.
What up, Vasa? You late? Throw some trees on that dog, on that poodle. Put some broccoli on it. Stick a carrot in it. I'm a bad one. Nah, you said I was a primate. You is. You are a primate.
Is, what do you mean?
You are absolutely a primate. You
only like that's crazy, bro. You think that's
he act like that was a bad
he
thing?
He said it's disrespectful. Yeah, he said
it's retarded.
What is the definition of a primate? Not yours, but the actual definition.
He said he agreed with the actual definition. It said humans on there too. It said humans are primates. But And then he turned around and said, I ain't no primate. So aren't you a human?
That's
He said,
only disrespectful to a retarded nigga.
man, exactly.
You can take that however you want to take it. You are very simple minded if you think that is disrespect, bro. Like, come on, that's fake outrage.
Like a mother.
The etymology and the definition ain't the same. That's called an etymological fallacy.
I told him. I tried to tell him that the etymology only gonna give you the origin of the word. It ain't giving you the definition.
Craig
Listen, real quick, bro. I don't know how long you've been here, Craig. I don't know how long you've been here, or if you missed the beginning of the show all the way up until now, man. I don't hold nothing against you, bro. I don't hold nothing against you. I don't hold, you know what I'm saying? It's something
trash.
It's something else to that. But you know, what you say he trained?
No, I'm just playing. I'm just talking shit.
Oh, okay. But now, Craig, it's nothing to do with you, bro. You was just trying to conduct your interview, and you didn't get to finish your interview. It's unfortunate.
The interview was actually very good.
I said that. That's why I was like, bro, y'all gotta stop the show, start another show, then let them get it in, cause that's fucking up the whole interview, dog. Yeah, you crazy.
Yeah, you good, Craig. You was just trying to do your part, bro. Your homie didn't want you to be great that day. That's all. He said,
Yeah, fine.
Look what Shy say. Look what Shy say right here. Look. The new theory I heard today was life started in Mississippi.
I'm the bar reloaded.
Yo,
I'm not going live.
Yo, Shy. Let me show you something real quick, yo. Let me show you something real quick. So if they said life started in Mississippi, just do this, Shy. See if they'll watch it. See if they'll watch it, Shy. Look, just go grab it, bro. Go grab it right here. The Mississippian people, the Aboriginal Indigenous Moors. Grab that right there, Shy. You got them right where you want them. Look.
Y'all about to have Kofi hype.
What you talking about?
He's an original Mississippian mound builder.
Yeah, you're right. Shy, here go all the sources. You should be able to click on them and take you where you need to substantiate the video, bro. All day long. All day. So I got you. You got them locked and loaded. What was the video claims? Oh, never mind. I don't even know what that was. So there you go. Yeah. Just grab that. You got them locked and loaded. He said the mother mounds. So they said the humans evolved from mounds. So life. So life started in the mound. Look at this fool. Look.
I told you, life started in mounds, Louisiana mounds. On point.
What the hell?
Where Brother Lavelle at?
Real rap. This so dumb. You ain't even got evidence for life starting in Louisiana.
Real cap. Fuck out of here. That's what I'm trying.
How can the common ancestor claim be debunked when you're trying to say the common ancestor is fungus?
what common ancestor that chimps and bonobos, then you would have to explain why we share like what 99% of DNA.
Mm-hmm.
How would you explain that, my fish brother?
Okay, but you a turtle.
That's crazy.
we,
But
we,
we got a
we can
common
all
ancestor.
identify what we want to. He
We ain't
wants
got a
the
common.
common ancestor to be in the water.
Yeah, you got a common ancestor with fish, but can't have
How
one
can
with
you? It doesn't
chimp.
make sense. You can't claim a common ancestor and saying that one has been debunked without bringing forth one that fits it more, like that fits it better.
You gotta have a replacement model. You gotta have a model that makes more sense than the model that we have today.
A human is a primate. So what do you mean? A tribe is
What the fuck?
it's like a whole rabbit hole. Like you're trying to go down with that. Primates, that's a lot of different things.
What do you? I don't. I'm losing brain cells. I feel
It's
it.
a rabbit hole. That's what I'm saying. It's like you going too far. Now you gonna have me up here sounding like Shine.
What are tribes? What are tribes? Define what a tribe is.
Social construct.
I want Fishman to do it, so y'all should because what
This ain't even gonna help, man. This ain't even gonna take me nowhere near the Mississippi, bro.
No,
I can't
no.
find
That's,
papers in.
this nigga said a tribe is a nation. That's wrong.
What?
A tribe
What?
nation. This is the
So the
problem.
United States is a tribe, Canada is a tribe, Mexico is a tribe.
Oh goodness.
This nigga told me to get a book. I don't want no book, bro. The term nation
I know.
shows respect, sovereignty, and the fact that native nations each of their own systems of government. So let's find out what a tribe is. This is real easy, bro. You need to deal with cultural anthropology. If you want an answer to a question like that, you deal with cultural anthropology. So let's just get a basic understanding per definition using Wiki. The term tribe is used in many different contexts to refer to a category of human social groups.
Oh, I was right.
Like
The
I
hell are
told
we
you,
talking about?
No, that was
you got to go to
awesome.
anthropology.
It's
So
culture.
culture is the key. The predominant worldwide usage of the term in English is the discipline of anthropology. Its definition contested in part due to conflict in theoretical understanding of social and kinship structures, and also reflecting the problematic application of the concept to extremely diverse human societies. That's why you got to go deal with anthropology when you're dealing with that, bro. So he said, what else he say? Nations. This is funny. It's like basic shit.
You're exposing yourself, bro. Just stop talking.
A nation is a community of people formed on the basis of a combination of shared features such as language, history, ethnicity, culture, and or society. A nation is thus the collective identity of a group of people understood as defined by those features. Some nations are equated with ethnic groups, and in some are equated with affiliations to a social and political constitution. A nation is generally more overtly political than ethnic group. A nation also has been defined as cultural political community that has become conscious of its autonomy, unity, and particular interests. That's just giving you some basic shit, bro. And yep, I agree with Mike.
Oh, right. So
And
how the hell will we
he
find
makes a good point at the end of that because abos don't have a culture, a community, Well, they done created their online community, but they don't have kinship. None of these people are related or anything like that, and their community only exists online. So yeah, he's just talking.
Type Indian tribe to see it's a nation search. So you mean like what? Like Cherokee Nation? Like shit like that? That what you're trying to say? Shit.
That boy there, man. That boy Special Ed, and not the rapper. Yeah, he said they're related in pseudo spirit. Khalil, bro, you started this, bro. He said a book.
What up, CJ?
H.con.res 331. No, I'm straight.
Mm-hmm.
He said he losing. He said that he losing brain cells. How many brain cells you think we lost?
You know what? I
I
want for you Abos and you Waterworld people to put together a presentation and present it, telling your doctrine or your side of your story with your sources and everything else, so that you can get it out uninterrupted, and then you can hear the rebuttal.
And their culture. We want to see their culture, their language.
Yeah, like we want to see just a presentation, so you don't have to worry about coming on somebody. I mean, I'll let you do it.
We want to see what they did in the America.
But I'll let you do it all. Just do it. Just do a presentation.
What happened to them when the European came?
Yeah, like do the presentations from beginning to now and explain it. It should take you at least about like 45 minutes to an hour. That's okay.
Thanks.
That's what I'm saying. Who's that, Carter?
What did he say? What?
I'm sorry. I'm talking to y'all.
Do you? All right, I like more. Post
I
the
don't
video
want
with
them to do it. They don't ever bring nothing to support them.
Was you talking about the Abos or was you talking to your son?
Oh, I was talking to my son at first, but then I said that they don't have anything to support them.
He said he
I
got
told you a long time ago. All these dudes do is ask questions. They'll never bring shit to the.
Bro, I don't even know how the fuck you get out on that channel, bro. I don't care nothing about your 2-hour presentation coming on nobody else shit. That's how I know you pseudo. You going on that platform to present information to a bunch of other motherfuckers in pseudo.
Well, how else they gonna get their stuff out, Sean?
They shouldn't be given the opportunity to be able to get shit off.
They should, because you have to be able to break down where they. Like I always say before, you got to break down where they're not understanding at.
Why you keep on trying to present this shit to motherfuckers and confusing people?
Because what? Because you have to understand. Okay, because if they can say something and somebody look, Sean.
No, listen. How do you think academia works?
I understand how academia works. How do you think that ignorance works?
No. We finna address your pseudo shit right now. How does academia work?
What do you mean? How does it work?
You know what the fuck I mean.
I don't. I understand that you research things. I understand what you're saying, but what?
No, stop. Does academia provide a platform for pseudoism? Yes or no?
Everything is pseudo in the beginning.
No. Answer.
No, but what I'm saying, okay.
No, but answer the question. No, and why not? You said
But-
no. So why not? Don't take too long trying to figure out your way around how to exist, nigga. Tell us
Oh my God.
why academia does not provide a platform for pseudo shit.
I mean, because there's no backing to it, it's like incorrect. It causes chaos. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that
So why in the hell are we allowing that bullshit?
because if a lot of people
Academia don't even allow that shit. So
okay, but because okay, we're not in college.
Because
Yes, because we're not in a college place, right? So in the world, everybody isn't academic, Sean.
Because that's all you saying. Because
Because.
this bitch.
But how can you correct something if you don't understand where the
They don't even allow
misunderstanding
is? Do I need to take you back to when that doctor would let them pseudos on his platform, and the first thing that he kept doing was asking them for their source? They couldn't produce the source. What he do? What he do?
Kick them off the platform.
Exactly. He kicked their ass out. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. We don't need to give that shit no life.
But okay. But what I'm saying is that if somebody presents something, it might sound good without a counter to it. It sounds inviting. It has a feel good, whatever.
Again, what do the experts do? If you come on a platform, you better have what?
Right. Okay, but Sean, there's plenty of, but it would be different if it's like one person. When there is a massive amount of people doing that, you have to see what the issue is. What is it about this that's alluring the people, that's making them believe in it and not in the truth or in facts?
No, that is your opinion. That is not grounded in fact.
Psychological.
Exactly. The experts don't allow that shit to grow legs. So why the fuck would we?
It's already grown legs, though. It just hasn't grown legs in academia. Because it's not academic. It's not no scholarship behind it.
Say it again. Is what? Is what?
Because
huh?
I'm saying it's not academic.
No. Say it again, or I'm gonna go back on the video and hit replay. What did you say?
I said it's not grown legs in academia because it's not academic. It has no scholarship behind it.
Stop. You said that it's not growing legs in academia because it does not have any scholarship behind it. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So why the fuck does it have legs in the communities that's supposed to represent academics?
Because in this community, there's plenty of people who don't have scholarship running things. So what do you mean? That's why you have most of the world is ignorant to certain things, and they don't know how to do stuff. And we see this every day.
This is why they shouldn't be fed that shit that you admitted that sounds good, but it's some bullshit.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. They should not be.
Okay, so then how can you find out where it goes wrong? Like, how can you find out what's wrong with people's thinking?
Hold on. Fuck this shit. I want you to listen to something real quick. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Hold on 1 second. See my screen?
Yeah. It's like one person. When there is a massive amount of people doing that, you have to see what the issue is. What is
out? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's all you saying. Pseudo shit.
I mean, because there's no backing to it, it's like incorrect. It causes chaos. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that.
So why in the hell are we allowing that bullshit?
Because if a lot of people.
Academia don't even allow that shit.
So because we're not in college.
Because
yes, because we're not in a college place, right? So in the world, everybody isn't academic, Sean.
Because that's all you saying. Because
Because.
find this bitch.
But how can you correct something if you don't understand where the
They don't even allow
misunderstanding is?
exist. Do I need to take you back to when that doctor would let them pseudos on his platform, and the first thing that he kept doing was asking them for their source? They couldn't produce the source. What he do? What he do?
Kicked them off the platform.
Exactly. He kicked their ass out. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. We don't need to give that shit no life.
But what I'm saying is that if somebody presents something, it might sound good without a counter to it. It sounds inviting. It has a feel good, whatever.
Again, what do the experts do? If you come on a platform, you better have one.
Right. Okay, but Sean, there's plenty of, but it would be different if it's like one person. When there is a massive amount of people doing that, you have to see what the issue is. What is it about this that's alluring the people, that's making them believe in it and not in the truth or when in fact?
No, that is your opinion. That is not grounded in fact.
Psychological.
Exactly. The experts don't allow that shit to grow legs. So why the fuck would we?
It's already grown legs though. It just hasn't grown legs in academia. It grown legs though. It grown legs though. It just hasn't grown legs though. It just grown legs though. It just hasn't grown legs in academia. Is it about this that's alluring the people, that's making them believe in it and not in the truth or when in fact? Okay, Sean, like what is the point?
Not grounded in fact.
Psychological.
Exactly. The experts don't allow that shit to grow legs. So why the fuck would we?
It's already grown legs though. It just hasn't grown legs in academia. Because it's not academic. It's not no scholarship behind it.
Say it again. It's not academia. There's no scholarship behind it.
Okay, but we know that. But so what? It's not any academia in Christianity either, but it still grew legs.
It's not academia.
Islam grew legs.
Hold on. So let me help you get your mind right. It's not. No, it's not academia, and it has no scholarship behind that. What was the conscious community predicated upon in its inception? What was it predicated on? Scholarship, academia, challenging the worldview of Eurocentric Asians, the whole Jews, everybody in the world. It was to
okay, but is this not challenging that
too? Hold on. It was to give stake and claim to Africans and diasporan Africans and the existence and contributions of those Africans throughout the world. Because we were left out of history when they began all this so-called quote-unquote world history bullshit. So the conscious community has to be predicated upon something when it was built in its foundation and inception, and then it continued to grow and evolve and develop over time. So you're telling me that we're now unconscious?
Most of the people in the conscious community is unconscious. Nigga, what are you talking about? Like these people. They're saying the same things. They was arguing, these people was arguing religion. They arguing the same, they still arguing religion. It's the same argument Hebrews have. It's the same argument. So like, what's the difference?
So it should not be allowed to be taught in front of a mass of people if it's the same argument and the same ignorance that we've already dealt with other motherfucking confused people.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that you have to see where is the confusion, because with Hebrews, regardless of what they say, we can know that your shit is based on this book and it's a belief, right? It's a belief. But when we're dealing with the Abos who try to steal the Native American culture, when they would have stood in Native American culture, they're trying to say it's not a belief, it's a belief. But I mean, it's like you still have to address that, and you have to address what they're saying. If you don't address what they're saying, Sean, they can talk somebody else into it. I say that to you every time.
They do not have a platform to get that bullshit off. They cannot convince anyone.
Exactly.
But how did they get convinced, Sean? Was it a platform?
We don't know.
Exactly. And you will never know if you don't allow them to speak.
No.
They grandma.
We don't need, yeah,
Girl.
Sutek is absolutely correct. They grandmama. That's the premise of their argument. They grandmama said. So they don't need a platform. Their grandmama said it. What the hell they telling us what their grandmama said? But we don't know that helpful.
Oh my God.
She be lying her ass off. We don't know.
I can't stand when y'all do this. People have to be able to say what they're saying for you to tell them that it's wrong.
They need to say it away from people that they can confuse the shit out of. If you want to go over there and be dumbed down like you die,
that has nothing to do with me wanting to do. What I'm saying is that you have to hear what they're saying.
You want to hear
fight it, Sean.
Look, you just said it has no merit in academia, but
it
doesn't. You're taking classes that has to deal with basically source recognition, the integrity of methodology, and literature review. You're taking these classes, so you finna tell me that you finna put in all this work to be educated upon some shit, only to be entertained by some bullshit.
What I'm saying is that most people don't have that though. They don't understand it, Sean.
No, hold on. Let me give you a reality check. What the fuck happened when these people had a platform to talk about the dumb shit during the middle of the pandemic when you had thousands of people dying a day? That was the most dangerous dumb shit ever to happen.
It was. I understand what you're saying.
So you don't think that this shit just is as dangerous? Have we not learned from the pandemic or how this information is?
Yes,
so why the fuck are we giving people a voice?
Because they already have it. So you're gonna have to.
It's a lot of
people. Like Sean, if you hop on like
I'm about to
TikTok,
do you like Henry did me.
No, come on, Sean. You can't.
He did me yesterday.
Are you proud? Why are you like this? Oh my God. I'm fucking can't. I don't always have to agree.
I'm not asking you to agree.
Well,
you can't justify. Listen. You're contradicting yourself because in one way you basically say that this shit has no legs and no grounds in academia. However, they should be allowed an opportunity to express their ignorance, no matter how dumb they sound or stupid that they sound. So
that's not what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't have. I'm not because Sean, it doesn't have legs in academia, but it has legs with the people though. With people.
Why does it have
always in academia? Because they don't understand. So you have to understand where
getting on these platforms.
No, it's because it's not even. Well, yeah,
it is because if
but
they had nowhere to go,
I mean, it is. But what I'm saying is that they don't
had nowhere to go. Would you hear that shit? Yes or no?
No.
Exactly. So what the fuck?
So, but what I'm saying is it's already there. So how are you going to? You still have to get what you're saying to those people.
Nope. At the end of the day, you still love pseudo. Just say it.
No, I don't. Listen to what I'm saying.
Yes, you do.
In order for you to get to, let's say that.
At the end of the day, say it.
No, I don't, Sean. It's not what I'm saying.
Admit it.
Sean, it's not what I'm saying. You keep on saying stuff I'm not saying.
No, you is saying it.
I'm not.
Yes, the fuck you are. You are saying
Sean, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. This is what I'm saying. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. Okay, if people are gonna follow These
That's what I'm
people.
saying, bro.
You
Thank
got
you.
no, don't Sean.
Thank
I'm not
you.
saving nobody.
Why your
Well,
name?
Sean,
Yeah. Some of that.
I got it.
I'm not saving anybody. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that
Da-da-da-da.
if you don't understand what they're saying to people, you can't counteract what they're saying to people.
Nah, bro.
Yes.
Nah, bro.
You gonna figure this shit out.
Nah, bro. Why your name ain't showing, bro?
Because StreamYard loves me.
Nah, that's some bullshit, dog. That's some bullshit. Why the fuck our names ain't showing no more?
You gotta go to your brand thing and change the way it looks. Put it on there.
What? What you talking about? Oh, boom.
There you go. Good job. So I'm not saving them. I'm trying to.
Yes, you is.
I'm not. I want them to understand where they're wrong.
No. We all know what this shit is.
Sean, I just want them to know where they're wrong. They're never gonna know where they're wrong if you cut them off every time they talk.
She put this on here. She put that I love pseudo on here.
Wow.
No, I did not. That is y'all. Y'all are irritating that shit, bro. Why do y'all keep changing my name?
I didn't do it. Sutek didn't do it.
Whatever.
Pseudos, bro.
Y'all are full of it.
Bro.
That's what the problem is. You bias.
She bias.
Bias than a motherfucker.
Y'all irritating as hell.
Hey, we gonna strike your shit, nigga. You think you finna motherfucking share our shit? So we gonna
Y'all get on my nerves. Either way it goes.
Oh,
like
Travis,
I
come
said,
on. She definitely don't like your ass. Come on up here, Travis.
What? Me and Travis are fine for right now. Unless
now
you
y'all
say some crazy shit. All I'm saying is that you gotta let somebody get it out so that you can correct it.
Nah, fuck that. It
Yes,
ain't gonna need
that was my whole problem with y'all. Every time I was trying to say something, y'all gonna fucking cut me off, and I'm never gonna get what I have to say out. But then you think I'm gonna listen to what you gotta say? How?
Keep that pseudo shit legless.
There ain't nothing pseudo I ever said grew legs. Stop changing my name, Sean.
I ain't changing, man. You need to change the name again. I'm kicking your ass off, and I'm gonna put up the whole video. Don't make me play the song. You know I'll play the song.
For what? I'm not even doing anything.
Bro, don't make me play the song.
This is crazy to me because I'm not doing nothing.
If
you was just gonna try to pick on somebody, you should have just let that boy come up here.
All right, so time. First of all, real rap. So first of all, I don't indoctrinate anyone. Now she can tell you herself that she didn't got her ass beat out of her pseudo.
Okay.
Okay, what?
He ain't gonna be all like that.
Nah, be like, what? What you talking about?
I have read some things and had a change of heart. In some things that I have stated on their channel.
You got the pseudo beat out of your ass. Just say it. Say it. Just keep it raw.
I said what I said.
No. Say it. Keep it real. Say
I
it.
did keep it real.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I read some more. I read things
anyway.
and had a change of heart.
Some things you was getting your ass beat like 3 times a week.
Boy, no, I was not. You only got me on
for the videos.
What?
You need to pull the videos up.
First of all, you only got me on the myot thing and the syphilis thing.
No, I can do replays of the shows if you want me to do
You don't have to do any of that. Thank you.
Sure. Because I think
And
you only said
and
things. You only said two
and on the
way more than that.
it was not way more than that. It was those two, and then the astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong than a motherfucker.
Whatever.
No.
She's still not gonna agree with you though. Why you trying to put your cape on? She's still not gonna agree.
She'll never agree with you, real rap. She's been trained to recognize bullshit. And all I did was just show her the shit. And now she's taking classes that substantiate the shit I already showed her.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
You heard it. That's why her son tell her that, Mama, you need to listen to Sean. Her son called her pseudo.
Because it was pseudo. I never said it wasn't pseudo. Well, I said it was a belief and not a pseudoscience.
Your son called you pseudo.
Okay, because it was. But that's not the point.
It is the point. If your son called you
that's
pseudo.
That's not the point.
Where your son at, as a matter of fact? Sleep.
I don't. He is really.
Yeah, he's like
playing loud music.
Who your son listen to?
What kind of music? I don't know. He listens to 90s music.
Listen to when they live.
You. That's still not the point.
he listening now. He listening now.
He can't get out here though. No. And I'll be backing up Sean.
Hey, go get your son real quick.
Nope.
We want to talk.
No backing up of Sean. So you can clip something. He always trying to clip.
Already talked to your dog.
Who was Thurman Meredith? Ain't no replays. We're not replaying nothing.
Bruh, it's so much shit on there.
Yeah, they can't indoctrinate. Nobody can indoctrinate me, though, sir. I just think that I know that when I was making my pseudo claims, what irritated me the most is that Sean wouldn't let me at least say what I wanted to say to tell you why I think this, and then you go on with whatever it is that you think is going to rebut it. I am not easily indoctrinated. Sutek.
You sound man, I'm over here rolling up. I don't know what you got going on. I think that was real rap. He did that with telepathy. Fish telepathy.
Y'all are rude.
That's nigga crazy. What species? What type of fish are you though, bro?
He said you're fungi.
You jellyfish.
So fungi being closely related to animals and not plants or something.
So you're a fungi.
Look at Juju. Look at Juju. Juju said, "Leave the church out there, man. Her kids love me. They be tripping off me."
Yeah, I don't know why they like him.
Because they be listening.
Think he's funny.
Because he be beating you up. That's for that time they got in trouble, goddamn.
Right.
Can't wait till I go live. I can't wait to hear embarrass you.
Y'all is wild for real.
Golly. They said the pseudo had a song. If the pseudos had a song, what would it be? Juju said heard it all before. I don't know the song he talking about. It would be from Sunshine Anderson. I don't know that person.
Name sound familiar.
I guess is that the person heard it all before? Sunshine? She's saying it? I don't know.
Shit. Yep.
That's up.
Yep.
Y'all funny.
She had that one hit.
But you haven't, but like, I don't know, the Aboriginals and these native, the people who trying to steal their culture, they have so many different doctrines. Some of them believe in a reverse slave trade. Some of them just believe that all Native Americans are Africans or some shit.
All we ask is for the evidence. That's it.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. They have to have a reason for their belief, Sean.
Oh, where is the evidence?
But you won't let them give you the reasoning.
No, I
They
don't
don't.
need reason.
They be having questions like, where are these slave ships? So, bro, if you just stand on your shit and say you don't believe there were any slave ships, don't ask questions. Don't ask me nothing. Show your evidence.
I mean, yeah, okay.
That's what we're saying.
But I just said that. I just literally said, can I come up off of your screen? Stop changing my name.
Nobody changed your name. Your name gonna stay there.
No, it's not.
That's your damn name. Because everybody here knows that you love to save a pseudo.
But I'm not saving them. What am I saving them from?
The fuck you mean you ain't saving them? Because you entertain some of that shit. It's fun. It's hilarious to you.
Listen, I don't think it's funny. I just think it's kind of sad.
Okay, so what if these same people was teaching your kids this shit? You would be pissed off. You would be pissed off if you heard that. No, if your kids were saying that shit.
I teach my kids to think for themselves.
Yeah, okay.
Don't do them kids like that.
They do think for themselves.
You be showing them all that pseudo shit.
Yeah, sometimes some of them will say it's pseudo, some of them don't.
It's like child.
No, it's just opening up your brain to thinking of other things outside the box. It's just you have to know that it's outside the box.
That's how Dan Calloway started. He's just here to make you think, remember?
Yeah, the whole copper claim is crazy, yo. They made that shit up.
Indigenous. Oh, that's some shit. That's made up shit.
That's how they roll, man. In the land of made up.
Insane.
What's that saying?
He said his kids, he'd rather pepper spray than his kids.
Mm-hmm. That's what she is, bro. That's what she is. Great example. Great example. Great example.
I am not that.
Not what?
Any of those things that EIE is talking about.
Great example, brother. Great example.
Pseudo whisperer.
That is.
Are y'all having fun right now? Because y'all got issues. I am not all of that. I just want them to show their work so that people can correct it.
No, we don't. They don't have no work. We seen.
Well, if they do, that's why I said they should just do a presentation. Because if they do, then we can see where they have a mistake at and correct it.
No.
That's the same thing you did with me. I said these people were given syphilis. You were like, they were not given syphilis. Then bam, we know where the problem is.
Correcting them motherfuckers, man. It's the same shit that we correcting over and over. That gets boring. They ain't got nothing to claim. Except for when Shaw came in here and talking about they motherfucking ass say they come from the mounds. It sounds like a mythological story. just to be real. But
But
look, man,
that's a new thing growing now too, is that like that whole people coming from Mississippi, it kind of ties into the the biblical people now claiming that Israel is over here and Egypt is over here and that they did something to the map,
dealing
and
with
they keep talking about this Mississippi River being like the Nile or some shit.
I'm not dealing with that reverse bullshit. I ain't dealing with that. Fuck them and their religion.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is it ties in. If you don't listen,
No.
then you don't know where they getting it from. Shine.
You in love with
You
pseudo.
was rude. It's not. It does not have to do with
You
that.
love pseudo, bro. You invested in it. Just tell me. Just tell us that you love
No,
it. Admit it.
that's not what I'm saying.
You love pseudo. To me and Sute. Admit
Are
it.
you done?
You enabling.
I am not. By saying that they should say what they have to say so they can get corrected.
Yeah.
How?
Mhm.
What is it? What am I enabling? Them
Them
talking?
bad behavior, bad character, bullshit, no methodology, no literacy. You enabling all of that. No, nothing. Niggas just make up something and run.
Well, I'm not. I still feel like it needs to be addressed.
No, that's the problem. We ain't got time to address every goddamn thing.
But you gotta hear it before you can address
No,
it,
no
Sean.
bullshit. It's bullshit. We already know they have no doctrine,
Oh
no
my god.
no evidence behind them. Why the fuck should we be continue to entertain some motherfucker who ain't got shit? Listen, I'm finna end this shit because you went too far. You
Okay.
you went beyond grandma. But nah,
Don't take me away. I'm behind grandmama.
but yeah, man, I'm finna get up out of here, man.
Bye.
Make sure y'all catch the replay of this video, man. We appreciate everybody tapping in again.
All
Go
the
back and watch.
pseudos gotta come in to Sean's stuff and just start typing your stuff in the chat.
I'm finna kick her ass off. Don't worry about it, y'all. I ain't worried about it, y'all. So nah, man, make sure y'all go watch Kofi bill from earlier today. If you didn't watch anything else that we did over the past 48 hours, go back and watch that shit. Again, all the sources, all the source material, everything that I talked about today is in the description of the video. Make sure that y'all grab that information and you have that available, because if that dude come back up talking that yin yang and saying this, that, and the third, and he ain't got no evidence to support his Professor Fisher and that claim, you know what I mean? Don't even bring it to me. Don't bring it to me, because I ain't entertaining it. You feel me? You know, let him stock himself for another year, because I ain't giving that Negro nothing. And don't subscribe to her motherfucking channel either, since you want to be motherfucking pseudo. Matter of fact, let me kick her ass. Shit. Now, see up out of here too. But nah, man, again, man, spills are flying, pseudos are crying. We appreciate everybody tapping in. Continue to tap in, continue to support. We appreciate everybody. You know what I mean? Like the show, share the show, get this knowledge, save yourselves.